Today, I'm going to show you guys how to trash your opponent's hand, forcing them to run out of plays with the all-new Ravemon Burst Mode. Digimon fans, welcome back, and today we'll be showcasing the most updated version of the Ravemon deck with the Burst Mode version. I am very excited to be revisiting this deck already, as the new BT13 vs Royal Knight set gave this archetype an entire new line, making it even more consistent than before. Like I mentioned, this deck is incredibly good at trashing your opponent's hand, making them lose security by forcing them to add the top stack to their hand too. The craziest thing is that you can even look at your opponent's hand, trash a card from it with the new Ravemon Burst Mode. There are some really nasty combos that you can pull off with this deck, and I'll be showing you guys how the combos work later on. So let's get right into the deck profile first. Alright, to begin with the Digi-Egg cards, we've got 4 copies of Pinamon and as well the 1 copy of Demi-Meramon. The reason why we play the 5 eggs is because we do cycle through all of them very quickly with all our combos, so therefore Demi-Meramon is the extra really good one, which has the on deletion trigger, draw 1, trash 1. Otherwise, Pinamon is the main one you always want to be seeing and getting into because of its on deletion. If it's deleted outside of battle, you get to gain a memory, and that really comes up all the time, and therefore these are the 5 eggs I'm currently running. Okay, now let's talk about our rookies. First and foremost, the best rookie of the deck. We still definitely need to be playing 4 copies of the EX4 Falcomon. It is the main searcher rookie for your entire archetype. On play, revealing the top 3 cards of your deck, adding yourself 1 purple Digimon card with Ravemon in its name, or Bird or Avian in one of its traits, and also 1 Keenan among them to your hand, placing the rest back to the bottom in any order. It also has the inheritable of on deletion. If it was deleted outside of battle, your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand, and again, really important. Being a very good rookie, being able to do 2 main things for the deck is really why this card is very valuable for you. Your build. Did you guys know that I actually posted this deck list on the Avault Club membership way before this video came out already? If you're not part of it yet, then be sure to join right now by clicking on the join button or the link in the top right iCard. By joining, you will get access to all my early first draft deck lists and updates before anyone else. Also, make sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for more Digimon deck profiles and videos on the channel. Don't forget to give this video a like while you're at it, as I really appreciate the support from all of you guys. Next, we got more Falcomons. We got 4 copies of the BT13 one from the new one. This one has an on-play. One of your purple Digimon gains retaliation until the end of opponent's turn. It comes up every now and then. I don't feel like I actually utilize it as much, but however, it still has a really good inheritable, which has the exact same as the other Falcomon on deletion. If it's deleted outside of your battle, your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand, and you definitely want to rack up as many of these kind of effects as possible to continue with your hand destruction combo on your opponents and make it hard for them to play overall, and that's really how this deck exerts its pressure. Then to round off for all of our rookies, 2 copies of Gazi and 2 copies of Psych. Very generically, generic floodgates, Gazi to stop memory gain, Psychmon to prevent any reduction of play cost. In this current format and the BT13 meta specifically, I think Psychmon actually might be the more priority. You guys can juggle between how many ratios you guys prefer. Gazi doesn't come up as often as I feel anymore, just because Psychmon is just better when it comes to stopping any like decks such as Royal Knights or Cross Hearts or even like Blue Flare and such, and those come up a little bit more often than what Gazi does. So again, just my personal take on this, and play as many as you guys want based on your own personal reference overall. That's it for all the rookies. Let's talk about our level 4s. First, the new BT13 Pekmon right here is a blocker. Very simple effect. It has the on deletion. If it's deleted outside of battle, opponents trashes 1 card from their hand. Like I mentioned, we see this effect a lot, especially in the lower level stuff, and we want to see those as much as we can. Then we got 4 copies of the other Pekmon back from EX4. This one has the when digivolving, letting you play a Keenan if you don't have one for free from your hand. And yeah, just really nice to see this as early in the stage of the game, so then we can, play that Tamer for free. And this Pekmon also has the exact same inheritable on deletion. If it's deleted outside of battle, your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand. So again, really frequent when it comes to these combos. That's it for our level 4s. Let's talk about our level 5s. Brand new Chromon right here from BT13. It digivolves for 3. It has a when attacking effect. If you have a Tamer in play, this Digimon may digivolve into Ravemon from your trash for paying the memory cost as well. There's some really good combos and utilizations when it comes to this card in particular to help you sort of like extend and get into your Ravemon a little bit quicker without having to sort of like pay and digivolve and retain your turn, which I'll show you guys later on in the combo segment later on as well. And it also has the inheritable of Undeletion. If it's deleted outside by battle, you get to play a level 4 or lower purple Digimon card from your trash without paying its memory cost. So really good floating capabilities, helping you bring some bodies back, and you can continue the cycle again and again, which is always really good. Then of course, another 4 copies of the other Chromon from EX4. This one is also when attacking, if you have a purple Tamer in play specifically this time, this Digimon may digivolve into Ravemon from your hand instead of the trash. So really good to see the both different kinds of Chromons to give you that versatility, you know, covering for each other, being able to digivolve from trash, digivolve from hand. Really, really fantastic. And then this one has the on deletion inheritable. If it's deleted outside of battle, you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon that is level 5 or lower. And this is really, again, comes in really nice handy to help you get for removal stuff and ultra value when it comes to your whole on deletion effects overall. That's it for all of our level 5s. Now let's talk about our level 6s. 4 copies of the EX4 Ravemon. I think this card is still just the best one that you want to mainly go into just because it's cost 3 to digivolve. It has jamming, which is super unique for this entire deck. It has the end of attack by deleting this Digimon that has a Digivolution card with Bird or Avian in one of its traits. At the end of the opponent's turn, you get to play it back from your trash for free. So it kind of has that floating capability and has a lot of cool combo synergy. It has a self-deletion that you need to rack up all the deletion effects that you sort of build up in your stack. And then with its secondary effect, it just combos super nicely because on deletion, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, they have to trash 1 card from their hand of their choice. Then if they have 7 or fewer cards in their hand, they have to add a top card of the security stack to their hand. So it's almost like kind of trashing their security, but it's actually giving it to them, which is totally fine. You're actually dealing damage and applying a lot of pressure and going super aggressive with this particular card. And then when it comes back later on, you can continue to chip them away and continue to pressure with it, is really what this guy is all about. It's just a really cool card, really strong, and I'm really, really liking this overall effect for the entire deck. Then we're playing 1 copy of the brand new BT13 Ravemon. I might also sometimes debate on playing like a second copy, but this one is just a very nice one of tech to have every now and then. I feel like you don't get its effects as often compared to the other level 6 Ravemon, simply because this does cost 4 to digivolve, and it has an end of turn effect by deleting this Digimon that has a Digivolution card with Bird or Avian in its traits. And at the end of your opponent's turn, it lets you play a Ravemon back from trash. Now, the whole thing is that your other Ravemon can cycle itself back, so therefore you don't really need to see this card as often. This card is more applicable when you have a Ravemon that is stuck in the trash that can't come back anymore, so this is like the one-off nice tech to definitely have. It does have an on deletion letting you play a Falcomon or Keenan from your hand or trash without paying its memory cost, which is also nice when it comes to its floating capability and bringing stuff back. And yeah, like I mentioned, 1 is really all you need for this entire deck. That's it for all of our level 6s. Let's talk about our level 7s. Definitely want to be playing at least 2, if not, based on my personal preference, 3 copies of the Ravemon Burst Mode. This brand new card is just super cool. It can digivolve for 5 costs on top of your level 6. However, it does have that unique black box text which lets you burst digivolve on top of a Ravemon specifically by returning 1 Keenan that you have from your battle area back to your hand. Now, when digivolving, you get to look at your opponent's hand, search your opponent's hand, and trash 1 card among it. This is really, really cool and unique effect because being able to look at your opponent's hand and pick a specific card is just insane, because now you get, not only you get to pick a card and take it away from them, you also get to see their hand and sort of plan ahead with upcoming plays. And if you're paying attention to what they have on their hand, you can really plan accordingly and how to effectively disrupt their turn and disrupt their plays, and just it greatly slows them down. But that's not all, because it has a secondary part to this first effect. Then if they have 7 or fewer cards in their hand, they then have to be forced to add the top card of the security stack to their hand. So you always want to be making sure, keeping count on your opponent's hand when you specifically get into this guy, so you can get the most value out of it, you know, trashing 1 card from their hand and then giving them a security, you know, being closer to lethal and making it even powerful and just like going for the game winning combos. That's really how it's all about. And then it has the when attacking, which actually has a lot of synergy when it comes to the first effect, is that by returning 1 Digimon card from your opponent's trash back to the bottom of the deck, you delete another Digimon that they have on the board, on the battle area, that has the exact same name. Now, by doing so is that if you look at their hand and you trash something and you see something that has the same name as they have on their board, you can plan ahead by doing so with its first effect, and then when you attack, you get to basically delete that thing as well, which is, this card is just absolutely insane and bonkers. And yeah, definitely want to be seeing it as often as you can and play it at the right time, which can give you a huge advantage in the game to even just sometimes just win it straight up. That's it for all of our Digimon. Let's talk about our Tamers. 3 copies of the brand new Keenan right here, which has a 3 cost, and it has the on-play effect. Your opponent may trash 1 Tamer card or option card from their hand, and if they don't, you gain a memory and draw 1 card. So this Tamer can effectively become a 2 cost, which gives you a lot of value, and again, it has a lot of great synergy because it forces your opponents to make a choice and trash. If they fall for their trap where they do trash because they don't want to give you value, it actually helps you either way because it sets up for a lower count card on their hand so that you can use your combos, because everything is revolving around like having 7 or fewer cards in their hand, and by doing so, this again gives you a lot of value by doing that. It also has the secondary effect of opponent's turn. When effect plays a Digimon, by suspending this Tamer, you also get to gain a memory, giving you the value again to gain more additional memory before they pass the turn, or potentially even pass their turn, and do a whole lot of combos and crazy stuff with this particular guy right here. And yeah, 3 is really all you need, because you also still want to play the other 3 copies of the older Keenan from EX4 as well. This is the memory tamer of your deck, so it's super crucial. It also has that all turns effect, where one of your purple Digimon with Ravemon in its name, or bird or avian in one of its traits is deleted. By suspending this tamer, you get to draw 1 card, and if it's deleted by a specific effect, you also get to gain a memory. So again, it's kind of like an analog youth for the particular deck by itself, and it gives you a lot of value just by having that too. Speaking of analog youth, I definitely still want to play 3 copies, at least even 2, just because of how good this card particularly is. Again, for the 2 cost, it helps you search and grab the pieces you need for the deck. It can potentially set up the trash for your other combos and so on. And it has mainly the all turns effects of when you have a level 5 or higher Digimon that has a Digivolution card is deleted, and you get to suspend this Tamer, and if you do, gain a memory and hatch an egg, which is actually super, super important for this deck. And this is how it actually helps you cycle into your second stack very, very quickly. You can gain a lot of memory with the combos, and then you can just immediately build your second stack and go into it all over again the next turn. Is just absolutely bonkers and insane, and therefore this is the reason why I definitely want to play the at least 3 copies, and I definitely recommend it for you guys as well. That's it for all of our Tamers. Let's just talk about options. 3 copies of Ame right here. 4 costs, basically, it deletes one of your own Digimon, and you get to delete your opponent's Digimon whose level is less than or equal to that Digimon that you deleted for yourself. And then if you deleted a Ravemon by this effect, you get to play 1 Ravemon from the trash without paying the memory cost at the end of your opponent's turn. This is really good for comboing and synergizing a Ravemon that came back out with no more sources, so then you can, continue to remove things and continue to keep your Ravemons afloat, which is really, really great value when it comes to that. Otherwise, sometimes you do want to delete your own stack with it, but otherwise, the whole Ravemon from EX4 does it by itself anyway, so it really depends on the situation, on how you want to play it. And then has the security effect of deleting one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level as well. So again, a really, really good option card, a key signature move of Ravemon that you always want to be seeing. And then last but not least, to round off for all of our options, 2 standard staples, purple memory boost right here, just to help us find more pieces that we want, continue to search, gain memory for the combos and whatnot. It's just always the best card to always have for standard for most decks. That's it for the 50 card main deck. Now let's talk about some other unique tech choices you guys can be adding into this deck. There's not really a whole lot, honestly, just because I'm really, really comfortable and I'm really happy with the consistency with the entire current build. But here are some of my own personal suggestions. First and foremost, for Gabumon, it has a lot of synergy with its on deletion, so you can trigger draw 2 and trash 1, cycling through more cards if you need, and it's just always value if you don't want to have the Floodgate rookies. This is also a very good inheritable to have included. Then we have 1 Lawemon right here, just to always really good hybrid for game recommendations, just because we do play quite a handful of Tamers with the Keenans right here. It does come up every now and then. If you do want to go for that extra swing, it can help you close games even faster, so that's why we definitely want to have at least 1 sometimes. And then last but not least, just a very personal suggestion, just based on like tech matchups and whatnot, Defix is always just a really good staple to have to cycle in every now and then, just depending on the meta and what you're facing up against a lot. And yeah, that's really it, and I don't really have any other cards I want to talk about. But if you guys have any other cool suggestions, definitely let me me know in the comments down below and share it with everyone too. That's it for all the cards I want to show you guys and talk about. Now let's move into the combos and sort of how to play this deck and some of the newer cool things you can actually do with it, which are really cool. Now, first and foremost, with the mulligan and sort of like seeing your opening hand, of course, mainly you want to be seeing your Tamers. Any of the three is just really good for you. Analog and Keenan's, and they just give you more value. The Memory Tamer one, it might be more of the mid-game card instead, just because it doesn't give you instant value right off the bat. But anyways, you hatch your egg and you just go for your combos and start digivolving. Of course, when it comes to digivolving your stack, ideally you want to be digivolving your Falcomon, that is a newer one, from BT13 right here, because the other one right here, you just generally want to hard play as much as you can because it is your main searcher of the deck and it really just gives you the pieces that you need. At the same time, if you ever have purple memory blues, go ahead and play it. Otherwise, Analog Youth is also another card that you want to be playing sooner. And then with Keenan right here as well, setting you up so you can pressure your opponent right in the beginning, even, and sort of like gaining your memory and drawing a card if they trash a card of their hand. If they don't, that's when you get your value back as well. Now, with this current setup now, you really want to see with your next cards, which is you're going to be your Pekmon. Now, the Pekmon, that is a blocker, which is nice. It can, come out in the early stages of the game just to stop your opponents from chipping you away, so you can slow down the game pace a little bit if you want to get into. But if you see yourself having a Keenan in your hand, then you want to digivolve in your Pekmon. Either you move it up and raising, or you even digivolve outside right here, so you can play one of your Keenans immediately. Now, the one thing Keenan that you want to be playing more would be the memory one, because it gives you a more long-term value, establishing yourself with 3 memory every start of the turn, so you can go for bigger combo plays and continue to climb your stack that way. And of course, as you continue, just digivolve into your other Pekmon whenever as you see, and then you want to eventually digivolve into your either Crowmons right here. Now, usually it's just case by case situation, because both Crowmons can help you get into your Ravemon with whichever way you want. If you have a Ravemon in trash already, of course you want to digivolve into the Crowmon that lets you digivolve into Ravemon from the trash, which is the BT13 one. But if you have a Ravemon in your hand, of course you could just be digivolving into the Crowmon that lets you digivolve from your hand, of course. Now, keep in mind, the two important pieces of these two Crowmons is that the one that digivolves from hand specifically requires you to have a purple tamer, whereas the other Crowmon right here that digivolves from trash requires any color tamer. Therefore, Analog Youth itself is already good enough for it, and it also can help you synergize and combo a lot, because sometimes if you trashed your Ravemon earlier in the stages of the game with Analog Youth, then you can combo very nicely with this particular one. So just depending on what you have resources, go into whichever or whatnot. Sometimes if when you're ready to go for the combo, you want to make sure you have enough memory to digivolve and make the attack so that you can get the most value out of it. Sometimes if your opponent's like pressuring the board and sort of like applying pressure and you're not ready to go, it's totally okay just to digivolve your Ravemon in your raising and just wait for the next turn and then come back out. But ideally, let's just say you start your memory at 3, or you have some way to access 3 memory, whether with your boost and whatnot, that's really all you need right there. So you can move this up right here immediately, and then you can just digivolve into your Ravemon for the cost of 3 right there, and then you make your swing. Now, by swinging, it will have jamming and all that kind of stuff, and then after the attack, you get to basically delete itself. By deleting itself, you can resolve any of these effects in your own particular order. So make sure the ideal thing is, I usually like to do from the egg all the way upwards, because Ravemon's effect of pushing your opponent's top card of their security to their hand is always the more value one that you want to get into. So therefore, by getting Pinamon first, you get to gain a memory right there. Falco and Peck are both going to make your opponent trash a card from their hand. So by doing so, it limits their hand size, especially in the early stages of the game. And then with the Crowmon right here, it deletes away your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon as well. And then you finally finish off with Ravemons on deletion to make sure your opponent, again, has 7 or less. So then they can basically add a security. If not, if they have 8 or more, you trash another card in the hand. So really good early stage combo. And keep in mind that Ravemon is going to come back at the end of the opponent's turn as well. And at this moment, because one of your Digimon's deleted, you get to suspend Analog Youth to gain a memory, hatch an egg, and then suspend this Keenan right here to gain another one and draw another card. And this is the moment where you can continue immediately to build your second stack. Digivolve for free, Digivolve for 2, and then Digivolve for another 3, and then you pass your opponent to whatever memory, and now you're even set up you know, to hopefully see another Ravemon in your hand so they can Digivolve it into it next turn. You don't want to be Digivolving this particular one because this one's going to be coming back from the trash afterwards. So if you have another one from your hand, that's more the ideal case scenario. If you have another one in trash, then that's another very ideal case. And then you basically rinse and repeat this combo over and over again. This Ravemon is going to come back out, and then you might have another Ravemon. Sometimes you can Digivolve into the BT13 one if you want to have the tech choice and sort of like go for that other kind of combo play. But otherwise, I generally just like to Digivolve straight into EX41 just because I feel it has the most value and most consistent performance when it comes to its effects and overall. And at this moment, this is when, you know, let's just say you start your memory at 1 or 3 or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter too much. And this is when you get to choose and decide if you want to go into your burst mode. Now, there's 2 ways to go into it. Of course, you can just return one of your Keenans to Digivolve it for free, and it just, you know, just stays for the turn and it'll get trashed at the end of the turn. Or if you have 2 Ravemon setups like this current stage and you have 3 memory, you can actually just go ahead and swing in, do all the exact same combos, make your opponent trash their cards, you know, play stuff, and then, you know, gain 1 memory with Pinamon right here, you know, suspend these 2 again to cycle the exact same combo to gain another 2. You can now effectively even Digivolve into your burst mode for paying the 5, so it stays on the board. And this is when you get to look at your opponent's hand and pick a card and trash it. And as well, as long as I have 7 or fewer afterwards, you know, you make them add a security stack to their hand, and then you swing, you know, bottom deck their trash Digimon as well, so they can delete another one with its when attacking. And yeah. And then you can just go hyper aggressive and just basically win games that way, because the entire course of this entire time you're making your opponents add cards to their hand from the security. You know, that's almost effectively same as trashing it, and you can just very easily just combo off there and win games that way. Again, of course, like I mentioned, you don't have to pay the 5 memory. Sometimes you just have no memory at all. You just return a Keenan and you do the exact same thing right here, which is totally fine. And you swing with it, and then at the end of the turn, you know, it goes away. Otherwise, you can also then play when you have a Ravemon that's floating with no more sources, you can play Ame to basically delete it, to delete more stuff, and then play another Ravemon back from trash and continue to float just like this. Is super, super cool and super fun way to play this deck, and it's just very consistent at cycling its combos over and over again. That'll wrap up for the deck profile for today. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. Once again, be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for more BT13 content. If you guys just can't wait and want to see early deck lists and first drafts, then once again, definitely join the Avault Club. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is Avault signing out.